Casey. Good morning, my name is Kale Casey. I'm one of the information officers here at the Shovel Creek Fire in Fairbanks, Alaska. We're actually live right now from the Moose Mountain Forward Operating Base right here at the Moose Mountain Ski Area. This is our morning briefing board, and we're doing a series called Alaska Live from Fire Camp. We want to break it down for you. We want to go back to basics. We want to thank so many people who came out last night to the community meeting at the Ken Kunkel. That video is live online. There was really good question and answers at the end, and we got the face-to-face with many of you. We love your questions. We love talking to you. We love you on the phone. We want you to have everything that you need to get through this very challenging experience. I live in Willow, Alaska, and in 2015 the fire came through our neighborhood, and as you know, we lost 54 homes. So we know what you're going through up here. It's very stressful, and we want to break it down for you. So yesterday, on the fire line, 2 crews left the new dozer line that we put at the Martin neighborhood area, and they went down with drip torches in their hands, and they burned at about 3:30 to 4 p.m. is when the conditions got favorable. They hiked right down this dozer line with drip torches, as hotshots do, putting little bits of fire on the ground. I have a video of that for you on YouTube right now. We included the link to the channel, and we're going to be putting more videos so you can associate the visual with the words. So go to YouTube now, you can pull up you can see the fire crackling in the ground. They get the fire initiated here, and 2 hotshot crews also hiked from the Martin Perch Subdivision fuel break north of Murphy Dome Road in this area, and they hiked to the west, and they brought fire this way. While they were doing that, and before they even did that, the air show started. And what we call air show is a very coordinated effort with air attack platform. That's a fixed wing, 1 pilot, 1 specialist that we call air attack. Air attack's on an air to ground channel and does all the aerial supervision and coordination. So air attack flies at the highest level above the fire. We have what's called a TFR over our fire so that normal pilots can't fly and normal drones can't fly. So if you're a pilot, please always be aware of that. So our air attack stays at the highest level. Then air attack coordinates the fire bosses, which we also have a video of on the site for you to see, who are pre-treating the green. So let's break that down. What does pre-treating the green mean? You have all these men and women who are somebody's son and daughters out here about to put a bunch of fire in the ground, and the pilots pre-treat the green behind them so that the fire can't jump behind them while they're working and start the green that we don't want to have started. So they'll put retardant or water or both, and we have a video of that where you'll see the firefighters burning, and right behind them the fire bosses are pre-treating the green. That's a safety mechanism. It's smart for high probability of success, and it's a really nice thing for the firefighters out there because, again, number 1, public and firefighter safety. We're not going to get anybody killed out here. So having the pre-treatment, having a nice retardant line helps us get started because inevitably the winds around here shift. So you'll see video of pre-treatment, air attacks coordinating that. It's impressive to listen to on the radio all day because you have 2 or 3 fire bosses working. We had super scoopers working. We had retardant ships delivering retardant. We had bucket ships dropping little bits of water to cool off the edge of the things. And then, of course, we have the fire itself. And so we have crews out in the northwest. The Idaho Panhandle's been mopping up with a pump show. They sometimes need helicopter support, so they'll call that in from our helibase, and they'll deliver out here because we're not losing track of it. We have a fire in the landscape this way. The Chattanooga River corridor is all protected, but we're not going to just take our eyes off that. So on the west side, you have mop-up going on. They're running pumps and hose out of the creek, and they have hose lays all the way up. The duff is very dry. The fire's in that duff. We're going to be putting up some photos here in a little bit of this area getting mopped up so you can see that with your own eyes. This takes a long time. I think people think mop-up's like a couple days. Mop-up can take 7 to 10 or more days in an area this big. This is many miles. The tundra's very deep. It burns very deep right now with our drought that we're having. So meanwhile, over here we have the burn show. Over here we have the mop-up. This is getting black. You can see we have 12% containment. And so that line is going to continue. The black line will continue as the division supervisors pass it up the chain that they're comfortable that this fire is not going to move. Remember, we have a natural feature out here, the 2009 hard luck fire scar. Fire scars are good for us. When a fire hits them, the fuel's only 10 years old versus 50 or 100 or 200. I was talking to one local last night who lives up on the ridge there in a level 3, and she said one of her black spruce, a scientist from University of Alaska Fairbanks, came and had 150-year rings in them. Black spruce need to burn every 60 to 100 years. or they get super decadent and really dangerous. So we have a lot of that going on here, but it already happened on the west side back in 2009. That was the same year the rail belt fire in Nenana burned for a long time. That was a busy fire season here. The fire went that direction and mostly stopped. So we're holding it there. We have black line on the south. And then the one big question people have is, well, okay guys, we saw your plume. We stopped on the highway. We stopped on the road last night and looked at your plume. Why isn't there a big bunch of new acreage? So I want to break that down for you. The air attack landed at about midnight 30 last night. I was listening on the radio. They set down for the night. What the mapping people didn't do is just fill this in right away. They indicated with these dots and red lines here that this is where our firing operation is consuming this acreage. We did up the acreage 800, so when you look at your update and download it from online, AK Fire Info or NCWeb, you'll see that the acreage went up. And then tomorrow expect to see this area right here, where they've got these lines in here, to actually turn more like this and look normal. So that hopefully answers your question, why do we keep looking at the same map every day if we know you burn a whole chunk of land here? Now this, what does this do for us? Why did we start here? We have these really important, we call them neighborhoods. We're going to try to get away from the subdivision. We've been working with the borough to get more accuracy about how we describe these for you. But we have these areas needed to have a check line, control line, and when the 7 mile was compromised last week, a fallback is that really wide, strong fuel break that the state of Alaska put in and burning off it. So what that buys us now is protection for all this area down here, all these homes in the Lincoln, Vancouver, and what have you. There's lots of folks who don't relate to those names, so all you homeowners to the south of the fire, this is your containment line. We're going to be able to continue to hold this and mop this up throughout the day. There's some extra work that they need to do. They worked from the east to the west, so there's some areas in here that they still need to add a little bit of the fire on the ground, and they're going to use either the helicopter or the unmanned drone that they operate. These two specialists who always come with us or come with the teams around the lower 48 in Alaska, they operate what's known as unmanned Romeo, and it's a copter drone that can drop the balls, and they can fly it in there handheld. It's a military zone product that they use over there in Delta Junction, and they'll fly it in and they'll just put some more little fire. We want to make sure this burns all together nicely. So we're taking the energy out of this fire being able to make a big push there. That's the work today. Meanwhile, this natural fire is going to pick up, just like it's picking up all over the interior and all over Alaska. We're going to start to see very large fire growth with this hot weather. So as the fire moves on its own, even though we've been checking it with helicopters, now we have to keep our eyes out for this bigger picture. If we can keep it on Murphy Creek, that's our goal. We talked about that at the community meeting last night. Rob Allen and Chris Hutzel answered numerous questions about how big this could get, where it could go. So if you're looking for a really good discussion about that, and you're looking for lots of information, go to the community meeting, please. It's a really good discussion. The ideal would be if we can keep it on Murphy Creek and herd it up to Chattanooga this way. That's all been prepped. But as in firefighting, we always have plan A, B, C, and D. And why do we do that? Well, because we're dealing with Mother Nature. We're dealing with a very hot environment. Who wasn't cooking yesterday? It was about 90 degrees all over. We're at Pearl Creek Elementary School, and at 10 o'clock at the end of shift, towards 11 o'clock, we were still cooking in our classrooms. Everybody knows how hot it is, so we don't know exactly what Mother Nature is going to do to this fire and how big it's going to try to get it like it did on Saturday. But because we'd like to keep it here, we also have 2 and 3 other backup plans. So a backup plan is another dozer line that comes off the ridge. We're going to put video of that up today so you can see it. They've been working on that for days. It's all plumbed, all prepped, all ready to go. And then the primary line is actually all the way out the old Murphy Dome and up to McLeod and in. So we have 2 more fallbacks. We'd like to keep it in the Murphy Creek. That's what they discussed at the community meeting. And I want to help break that down. We've got Jake Welsh. He's right behind the camera right now. He's going to come out. Jake was a hotshot, rappeller, smoke jumper, and he's an information officer on our crew right now. We appreciate you being out here.
My pleasure to be in Alaska. Love the great state of Alaska. Beautiful place. Love the visit, but sorry about the circumstances. I'm just thankful to be here to help.
And Jake's kind of the guy who always helps me understand some of the big challenges they have out there. He's also aware that we were talking yesterday about we put in a new roadblock to protect the operation in here. So some folks who are driving out, and you can describe a little bit, we have some folks who drove out to their cabins on the road, and then they came back and the borough had alerted everybody via text that there'd be a roadblock here. But what that meant is they couldn't get back in, right?
Yeah, so we have a lot of people who access their cabins on the Chattanooga. There's a long road. Some people call it 15-mile trail. We have it listed as Murphy Dome Road or Bennett Highway. So these folks were leaving their cabins and they come back and they only to be informed that they can't cross the roadblock. So this is going to be something that we're going to evaluate every day, our roadblocks. And we're not letting them in for safety concerns because we did have this firing operation going on here. So having a roadblock basically keeps people out of there, keeps them safe, keeps our firefighters safe because there's a lot of traffic. We have crews, engines, water tenders, we have all these moving parts. So we just want to keep people away from that and make sure in the event that something were to happen, we wouldn't have to hurry up and get them out of here. So our roadblocks are here right by the dome where 15 Mile veers off and goes towards the boat launch. That's one of our road checkpoints or roadblocks. Another one is where Old Murphy Dome and Murphy Dome Road meet. And this is so to keep people out of the immediate operations area where we're doing the firing operation and other mop-up work. So, and it's also to keep the Martin area safe because it isn't a level 3 evacuation. We don't want anybody in there who doesn't need to be in there. Our last roadblock would be at the junction of Spinach Creek and Old Murphy Dome Road. And once again, this is just to keep people out of the area that will be working and to keep the residents, their property safe while they are gone.
Yeah, one neat thing from the meeting last night is the residents asked, hey, how are you getting water up there? Because most locals up here don't have a well, and water is a very much a premium item. Well, we have a whole fleet of water tenders, and it's in 2 parts. And I thought this is really interesting. A lot of people don't know this. The first part is the water tenders go from town to the fire station here at the base of the ski area. They load a 60,000 gallon tank at the fire station and then go back to town. While the other tenders who are doing laps go down from here, from the fire line, to that tank. They fill up there and then they're running a one-way shuttle up and around. And we put up pictures over the last week. Anytime a firefighter is engaging a fire that we light, or even if it's natural out here, we have to have water, and we put up what's called porta tanks. They fold out, and you spread them out, and then you have a water tender dump in that water. Yeah, we are using a lot of water, right?
Yeah, and these folded tanks hold 1,500 gallons each, and so it's basically a way to put a whole load of water. You put 2 of these tanks out there, you dump the water in there, you hook a pump up to it, and you fill the hose lays. And the hose lays are the hoses with little laterals that you come out and spray, or it feeds the sprinkler systems around all these cabins and homes and structures that we're protecting. And that's primarily in the Martin, in the Perch, and down in the Lincoln Creek, over in Murphy, and then in the Vancouver. These are the places that are closest to the fire. So those places are most of them are prepped, and we still have people there, and they're ready to go at a moment's notice to turn on these sprinklers or be there to protect your structures. So we have a lot of folks in place. We also have the engines from the Department of Forestry on hand. If a new start were to happen, they would respond to it, and they're just in the neighborhoods, and so we're here. We definitely we got your back.
And that's part of what was communicated at the community meeting last night. We want to make sure you're asking questions and that you have access to us. That's why we're here. We love it here. I actually am trying to buy land up here and have been for 6 years. So I know how special this community is. There's some questions about, well, why is the road closed? Why isn't the map updated? Why this? We're here to answer those. So again, whenever you have water movement, water tenders on the road, that's a big watch out situation. We've had fatalities in the past. Those amount of gallons add up in an unbelievable way, and if they have to dive around a car or a four-wheeler or some recreational or homeowner up there and they get a little bit on the soft shoulder, a water tender rollover has been a fatality situation numerous times, or a very big watch out situation. So we want to break this down for you. You can help us to break it down by posting your questions. When we know more about what it is that you want to know, we can get up here and do the Alaska Live. And so we'll be doing this ideally also from up on the fire line tomorrow. Jake's going to head up there this afternoon. He's going to test the Wi-Fi, and we're going to see if we can bring you coverage right from up on the fire line, because you're our priority. We know you're really, really invested in this. And again, the ready, set, go. The ready part is being informed, being aware, and doing what you're doing, asking those questions. If you feel like internet's a limitation, I encourage you. especially as somebody who lives in a community that is a bit of a PTSD community, Willow, which survived that fire. Go to the library. Take a trip down when you're going shopping or going to get gas or whatever else you need to get. If you're in level 2 or 1, go to the library. If you don't have internet, sit down for a minute, go to our social media sites, go to our government INSEE website, and take some time. Read the updates, look at the photos. We're here for you, and ask questions.
I'd also like to say, hey, call us. We have a number. It's on a lot of the updates, and I'll just read that number off to you guys. There's usually someone staffing it from 7 a.m. to almost 11. It kind of varies. We need to get sleep, and we need to take care of ourselves, but leave a message. We will definitely call you back. So that number is 907-347-6801. And call us regarding these road closures that we have out here. Just give us a call. We'll give you all the information we know as we get it. But expect these roads to be closed until you hear anything on the update or social media or through the Fairbanks North Star Borough alerts. So those are the ways that you will learn that access is being permitted back into these areas. So just stay informed. Just like Kale said, we're here to provide you information on many platforms, face-to-face. We have boards out in the communities. We have the social media presence. So yeah, we're trying to get it out to you any way we can, and just give us a call if you have any questions. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and hit the